The New York Knicks picked up a 111 to 104 victory tonight over the Sixers in Game 1. This was a crazy game because we saw Jalen Brunson really struggle from the field. He only made 8 of his 26 shots for 22 points. Of course, he did come up big at the end of the game, but if you were to tell pretty much any Knicks fan that, I'd bet they would have thought we would have lost the game. But thankfully, others were able to step up. Josh Hart, this is honestly one of the best games of his career. 22 points, 13 rebounds, a steal, 2 assists, played 42 minutes, didn't sit a single second in the second half. I mean, Hart, this was the game where he truly showed that I'm just not the same guy as I was last year. Of course, Hart did have good moments for us, but in the playoffs, I mean, Game 1 to come up this big is definitely a good sign to come. 5 of 12 from the field, 22 points to go with those boards on top of it, and the defense that he played, the hustle. He truly kept the Knicks afloat because the Sixers in that first quarter, I mean, 34 to 25, they were the more physical team. They were hustling more, they wanted it more, and for Hart to come up big in that second half especially definitely was a huge reason why the Knicks were able to come back and win this game. Miles McBride, again, 21 points, 7 of 12 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3. One of those threes that he took, he was double teamed. It was at the end of the shot clock, and it was a step back, and he airballed. So really, I mean, we'll count it, but still 5 of 7. McBride, he's been one of the most efficient shooters in the NBA this season. We know he was over 40 from 3. We know in practice he's been number 2 to Brunson in terms of the shooting drills and the efficiency. Big game for him, 4 assists, a steal. I thought he had good defense in this one. I mean, Tyrese Maxey, the Knicks just had no answer for him. Got to give him a lot of love, even though his team lost. But 33 points, 14 of 26. I mean, how many of those buckets were on wide open layups? Maxey's just so fast. He's able to push it down in transition, get downhill, and the Knicks just could not keep him in front of them. Thankfully, that they were able to find the way to win the game because the Knicks cannot allow Maxey to do that the rest of the series. But we'll get into the Sixers a little bit later. But I do want to talk a little bit about Isaiah Hartenstein. He only played 18 minutes. I definitely did not see that coming. I guess Tibb liked the matchup with Robinson, and I would too. I mean, Hartenstein was a minus 13. Mitchell Robinson was a plus 20. And Mitch, he made it just about as difficult on Embiid as he could have. The defense that he played, but on top of that, to get 12 rebounds, to get those 8 points and knock down both of those free throws. If he ends up missing those, I mean, maybe the game changes, but he was able to knock them down late in the fourth quarter. I like what I saw out of Mitch. I definitely would have thought that Hartenstein would have been the main center just because the way he defended Embiid last time the Knicks saw Embiid, the one time they did this year. But yeah, Tibb went with Robinson, and he made it physical. He just has more length, more size, and the jumping ability than Hartenstein. We'll see if that trend continues. But if Mitch can play like this the rest of the series in the playoffs, the Knicks are going to be in great shape, whatever matchup they do decide to go with. And then Bojan, he finished the game with 13 points in 25 minutes. I mean, I think he had like 12 points or something crazy like that in the first 10 minutes he checked in. Bojan, without him, the Knicks definitely would not have won this game. I mean, he was a plus 27 right there. That's proof of it. But it's also when he was in, he was attacking the basket. He was getting to his spots. He was knocking down mid-ranges. And I talked about in my last video how the X factors for the Knicks were going to be Miles McBride and then Bogdanovic. And so far, that seems to be on the right path because these guys were as big of contributors as anyone in this game, including Maxey and B. Brunson. Those are the main stars. But I mean, these bench players for the Knicks, they didn't have this, and that's another thing that we've been talking about is the Knicks didn't have that depth on their bench that they could rely on. Last season, IQ just was struggling, and outside of that, like, Josh Hart was good, but the Knicks have a great bench right now. I mean, these 3 guys are going to be the ones we see the rest of the playoffs, the rest of the series, because we don't know how much faith that the Knicks are going to truly have in Alec Burks or Precious Achiuwa. So when you have 3 guys off your bench that can log 25 to 30 minutes any single night, of course, or 40 plus as we've seen from Miles McBride, he's I don't think he's played 48 minutes for the Knicks in a game this year. He seems like he's just never sitting. But with, of course, a fully healthy Knicks team, aside from Randall, who's out for the year, but with OG in there, that pushed McBride down to the bench. But he's been able to just step up this year, knock down threes, his defense, his energy. I mean, Deuce McBride was a plus 37. That's something I didn't even mention. He was literally a plus 37. I mean, if he doesn't play in this game, the Knicks don't win. So it's as simple as that. But really, outside of that, for the 76ers, Embiid, of course, he played 37 minutes, but if you saw the game, you would have known that he had that. I don't know if it was his meniscus or his knee, but he re-aggravated something. I'm pretty sure it was his knee because he missed time from it. And I thought for sure he was going to be done, but he ends up coming back out in the second half, and he played well. 8 of 22 from the field, though. That's a thing for Embiid. 11 of 12 from the free throw line. And then, so that's nearly, basically, not nearly, he had more free throws than he did field goals. And that's been Embiid in the playoffs, is he's going to try to get to the free throw line. And if he can't, he's definitely going to struggle. I mean, it's not like he was bad in this game. He was a plus 14. He had 29, 8 and 6, 2 steals. Like, it was a great game, but it just didn't seem like Embiid dominated like he did in the first half and the second half, and that was a large reason why the Knicks were able to get the win. Kyle Lowry was amazing in this game. I mean, he absolutely torched the Knicks. He played 39 minutes and had 18 points, 5 of 9 from the field, 4 of 7 from 3. Lowry hit some timely shots. It seemed like the game was getting away from Philly, and then Lowry was able to sort of stop the bleeding. And he also, as soon as the quarter started, he just started knocking down a bunch of shots and kind of came out of nowhere. Great game for him. Of course, he was a problem for the Knicks to deal with last playoffs when they faced the Heat. Maxey, we already talked about him. Tobias Harris was quiet as he's been the entire year. He did have 9 rebounds, 7 points, but just for the amount of money he's making, you would think there'd be more contribution, but I'm certainly not complaining about it. Kelly Oubre as well, 10 points in 39 minutes. I said that in the preview, is that Harris and Oubre, I mean, and even Lowry in a sense, these guys, I don't think they're going to be able to step up every single night to be able to beat the Knicks 4 out of 7 times. And then Batum, who went absolutely nuclear in the last game for the Sixers when they were in the playing against the Heat and they beat them. I mean, Batum just couldn't miss. But in this game, 26 minutes, 3 points. Paul Reed played 11 minutes, had 4 points. Of course, he had those 2 not acrobatic, but it's sort of circus types of shots, I guess, acrobatic. And then Cameron Payne, 3 minutes, no points. Buddy Hield, 11 minutes, no points. So there's a big difference between the Knicks bench and the Sixers bench. The Knicks bench is significantly better. But then when you're comparing Embiid and Brunson, I mean, both these guys, they weren't bad. I don't really think they were great or anything like that. But the other guys on the roster, so comparing them to, for example, Oubre, Harris, and then you compare that to DiVincenzo and to an OG and Hart. I mean, it's just night and day. Even a fully, like, the Sixers are, Embiid's not fully healthy, but the Knicks don't have Randall, so I guess it's kind of even in a sense, but the Knicks are just a much better team, and they're the 2 seed. They're going up against the 7th seed, so there's just no reason for the Knicks to lose this series, and I thought they made a statement in this one. They definitely have to be better. I mean, this was far from a perfect game. I mean, Jalen Brunson, I don't think is going to shoot 8 of 26 again in a playoff game this season, hopefully, but yeah, the Knicks definitely, they're going to get into the film room and just make sure that next time out they get off to a better start, because the Knicks had a 33-12 quarter. That's just not going to happen very often in the playoffs. You can't rely on that, so the Knicks need to clean it up. I mean, then they get outscored 36-21, 34-25 in the first quarter, and then they have that 32-22 10-point advantage. So, but really outside of that, I'm definitely happy with the results. I mean, whenever you win a playoff game, you don't really have a right to complain. The Knicks, great start to the playoffs, especially to pick up a win with your superstar player having an off one. I mean, Josh Hart showed exactly why the Knicks gave him that contract. Donte DiVincenzo was extremely quiet in this game, but I expect next game he'll definitely bounce back. I mean, he was 2 of 5 from 3, so it wouldn't really be a bounce back, but it'd more so just be more of an impact, because we're going to need him. Hartenstein, Mitch Robinson. I mean, there was a crazy things. We'll definitely dive deeper into it in the next video tomorrow, but appreciate you guys for coming out. It's your boy, Knicks Daily. Peace.